Cool, let's get started. All right, I'm on page 61 of Millionaire Real Estate Agent, our Yellow Brick Road to Oz. And today we're going to talk about the second topic in the 24 topics of the MREA, which is the sixth common misunderstanding. So I'm just going to read to you a few highlighted portions, and then I'm going to ask you for your ahas. The sixth common misunderstanding: having a goal and not fully realizing it is a negative thing. Gary goes on to say, well, first of all, he gives the truth. And the truth is, having a goal and not trying to achieve it is a negative thing. You know, I would add a couple things to that. Not having a goal is a negative thing. Not having a written goal that I can see is a negative thing. How can you hit a goal you cannot see? And more importantly, how can you hit a goal that you do not have? Michael Jordan, greatest basketball player of all time. If you put Michael Jordan on the free throw line, that's a tongue twister for me, and you had him shoot 100 baskets, he'd make 98 of them. Now, put a blindfold on him, turn him around, face him facing the basket, and have him shoot free throws now. How many is he going to hit?
99%.
Frank, stop it. He's got a blindfold on. We spun him around 100 times. He's not going to hit
Michael
any.
Jordan, he's the GOAT.
All right, stop it. He's not going to hit any of them. Here's my point. You're messing up my point, Frank. It's funny, but you're messing up my point. Here's the point. How can you hit a goal you can't see? Mm-hmm. Hello? And I coach real estate agents for a living. I'm a business coach and a trainer, and I have hundreds of conversations every week with real estate agents. And I ask them, where do you want to be a year from now? And I'll get all kinds of answers. And almost never do I get a specific goal that is measurable, definable, achievable, trackable. How can you hit a goal you cannot see? How can you hit a goal you do not have? By the way, that wasn't planned. I didn't even plan on sharing any of that. Just felt like taking a bunny trail there for a moment. All right, I am back on track. Hi, Diane, and goodbye to whoever you were saying goodbye to.
Sorry.
All right, so the problem for some of us is that overcoming our fear of failure, especially public failure, is very difficult to accomplish. Gary's speaking about his childhood. When I was a child, my parents had a framed print across from my bedroom called Portrait of an Achiever. Below the title was this list: 1832, failed in business, bankruptcy. 1832, defeated for legislature. 1834, failed in business, bankruptcy. 1835, fiance died. 1836, nervous breakdown. 1838, defeated an election. 1843, defeated for U.S. Congress. 1848, defeated for U.S. Congress. 1855, defeated for U.S. Senate. 1856, defeated for Vice President. 1858, defeated for U.S. Senate. 1860, elected President of the United States of America. Now, where would we be today if Abraham Lincoln gave up? What would our country look like today if Abraham Lincoln gave up? Has Abraham Lincoln affected hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives with his persistent decision that I will persist without failure because I am on a journey with a destination that is assured? You and I have an opportunity to give up every single day. and whose lives are being affected if we choose to give up. You see, the greatest tragedy in life is not that we fail, it's that we almost succeed and there we are. If there is anything that history bears out, it is that failure almost always precedes success. Did you hear that? Failure almost always precedes success. There are so many similar examples. Probably the most famous is Thomas Edison, who claimed to have failed 1,000 times before successfully designing the light bulb. What if he stopped at 999? Theodore Geisel, also known as Dr. Seuss, was rejected 27 times before finding a publisher. Mark Victor Hansen's Chicken Soup for the Soul was rejected by more than 30 publishers before going on to sell more than 70 million copies worldwide. Henry Ford failed and went broke 5 times. So here's what Andy Andrews has to say on the subject. Great leaders, great achievers are rarely realistic by other people's standards. Somehow, these successful people, often considered strange, pick their way through life, ignoring or not hearing. How many times have you heard me say reject, rejection? No is not a word that lives in your vocabulary. These successful people, often considered strange, pick their way through life, ignoring or not hearing negative expectations and emotions. Consequently, they accomplish one great thing after another, never having heard what cannot be done. God may have been waiting centuries for someone ignorant enough of the impossible to do that very thing. In Andy Andrews' book, The Traveler's Gift, the 7th destination for David Ponder as he's on a journey, traveler, and visiting famous people throughout history, the 7th destination is a warehouse. And this warehouse is in heaven. And the individual that he visits is the Archangel Gabriel. And as they're traveling through this warehouse, he's looking at all of these contraptions, machines, pictures, blueprints, and he asked Gabriel, what is this? Why am I here? And I don't want to tell you the entire story because this is the real jaw dropper of the book. However, I will tell you this. What he goes on to learn is that this warehouse is filled with everything that is, but is not. Because the person who God had placed on the earth to create, invent, or discover that very thing gave up before they did. The cure for cancer is in this warehouse. And I believe, this is just my personal belief, the cure for cancer exists today. We just haven't found it. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It exists. We just haven't found it. Now, if you look at life outside of time, the way God sees time, omnipotent, omnipresent, everywhere, all of the time, at the same time. The cure for cancer exists today. We just haven't found that one person that says, here it is. I possess the greatest power ever bestowed upon mankind, the power of choice. Today I choose to persist without exception. No longer will I live in a dimension of distraction, my focus blown hither and yon like a leaf on a blustery day. I know the outcome I desire. I hold fast to my dreams. I stay the course. I do not quit. I will persist without exception. I will continue despite exhaustion. Average people accept exhaustion as a matter of course. I do not. Average people compare themselves with other people. That is why they are average. I compare myself to my potential. I see exhaustion as a precursor to victory. By persisting without exception, my outcome, my success is assured. I will persist without exception. I focus on results. It is only important that I continue the process with my eyes on the outcome. An athlete does not enjoy the pain of training. An athlete enjoys the results of having trained. A young falcon is pushed from the nest, afraid and tumbling from the cliff. Are you gonna feel fear on your way to victory? 100%, you are. There is no way around fear. It can't go over it, can't go under it, can't avoid it, have to go through it. But the anguish of learning to fly is quickly forgotten as the falcon soars to the heavens. On the other side of fear is opportunity. On the other side of fear is victory. On the other side of fear is you finishing the journey that God put you here to finish. A sailor who fearfully watches stormy seas lash his vessel will always steer an unproductive course, but a wise and experienced captain keeps his eyes firmly fixed upon the lighthouse. What's your lighthouse? I know what mine is. Talk to me.
Yeah, I just finished the 7 decisions again, and a lot of that came from that. The persistent decision, John, right? To make sure that we don't move, right? We have a journey that's, a destination that's assured.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. The athlete doesn't enjoy the pain of training.
Nope.
But they definitely enjoy the result.
Yep. Does the result come without pain? Does the result come without training? Does the result come without blood, sweat, and tears?
John, it's when you were reading this, and I'm sorry I'm making this analogy. It's sort of like when you're running and you start to feel that burn, it goes away. And are you going to quit before you get past the burn? It's if you just hold off long enough, you can succeed. It's just getting past that first part of it.
Victoria, you're absolutely right.
Understand what I'm talking about. It's that first initial burn, and then it's clear sailing. You just have to get past it if you're a runner.
You're 100% correct. And anybody who has ever run a marathon understands what Victoria is talking about.
I'm a runner. That's right.
A runner's high. A runner's high is when you hit a wall and you literally don't think you can take another step. And then you break through that wall, and all of a sudden a burst of new energy just fills your body, and it's a high. That's why it's called a runner's high. And a lot of runners will tell you they run for that. That's the reason they run, is to experience that high.
And John, you have to experience certain things and I guess I'll make a reference to something that my favorite movie is V for Vendetta. And there's a part where he makes her go through something, and there's no other way that she could have done it except to actually experience it. And, you know, and that's the good part. I went skiing in British Columbia, and our instructor, he asked us, he said, "Do you want me to challenge you?" And everybody said, "Yeah." And we went down this one place where he literally had to pin himself in front of us and help us get past like ice and rocks. There was one girl in the class who cried and went back and complained about him. The rest of us were like joyful because we skied the rest of the time with no problem after having gone through that.
Great job, Valerie. Great job. And I agree. Great movie too, by the way. Yeah.
I remember as we grow up, we've had advice given to us by elders or older people. One of them was, if we learn from our mistakes, why are we afraid to make them? But the one that comes to mind right now, and everybody knows it, if at first you don't succeed, try again. There's got to be a reason why that advice keeps on coming out to us. Somewhere along the way, people succeed, and that's what we got to keep on doing. Try again.
Yeah, I love that, Alex. Thanks for sharing that. And my favorite to go along with that is, if at first you succeed, you're not thinking big enough.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, what's the message? The message is think bigger. The message is aim higher. The message is don't be afraid to fail. It goes right back to where we started, the 6 myth understanding, topic 2 of the 24 topics. Page 61 says, having a goal and not fully realizing it is a negative thing. Is it? Is it? In 18 years in this business, I have never hit my goals one time. Never. Now I've come close. My last year in production, I sold 127 homes. I'm not saying that to impress you, so don't be impressed. My goal was 180 homes. Matter of fact, my goal every year from 2010 until 2015 was 180 homes. And the closest I ever got was 127. Am I a failure? I don't know. It depends. And at the same time, anybody on this call, would you be happy with 127 closings in the next 12 months?
John, I would love to fail with 127.
Thanks,
And
Carissa.
John, it goes to the saying though, it's not about perfection, it's about progress.
It's about progress. And Victoria, I'm going to close with this. It's about the journey. And Carol, the book is The Traveler's Gift. And Mindy Doppler-Nelson just shared that as well in the chat. So thank you, Mindy. It's about the journey. It's not about the destination. I hope I never reach the destination. I really do. Because what happens then? What do you do then?
Right.
I'll never reach the destination. The only destination for me is well done, good and faithful servant. And that's it. That's my only destination. All right, guys, time to get to work. It's 20 contacts, not 19, not 18. Remember that 19th contact could be $1 million listing that you didn't get because you settled for 18 conversations. The purpose of every single conversation is to build relationships. We make care calls, not sale calls. Anybody noticing that this is becoming a script? Another aha, time on task over time equals mastery. We make care calls, not sale calls. The purpose of our calls is to build relationships. Our focus is get at least one appointment. face to face with someone who is thinking of selling their home or buying a home, adding one person to your database so that a year from now you have 250 new contacts in your database in order to build relationships. And then create a pipeline to follow up and follow up forever without exception. You only have, this is from Tom Hopkins, don't get mad at me. You only have 3 excuses for not following up. Number 1, they listed their home with somebody else. Number 2, they sold their home. And number 3, you're dead. Other than that, there is nothing that's gonna stop you from following up. All right, guys,
Happy birthday.
until tomorrow, make it a
Happy
great
birthday,
day.
John.
Happy birthday.
and
Thank you.
Gloria.
Thank you, John.
Birthday. Have a great birthday,
everyone.
John.
Thank you for the pleasure of your time. Love all of you.
Happy birthday, John.